Okay, and we're live. Hello, everybody. It
Hey,
is
everybody.
Monday, a new beginning of the week. And Nancy and I have a special guest today. For some of you who may not know, most everybody who pops into the Divine Feminine chat hangs out with Allison and I on Fridays. But for some who don't, this is Allison, AriesGirl Tarot.
Hi,
And
everyone.
Allison and I do a regular Friday show. Um, where we talk topics, and sometimes we go on for 4 hours talking about crystals and Reiki healing. And we do readings sometimes. And Allison had a Monday free, and we were like, "Oh, would you like to come join Nancy and I?" And she said, "Of course." And what one of the beautiful things that I thought automatically when Allison said she could make it was that I got into doing my own little ancestral altar. It's kind of like apart a little bit right now because I have some of my pictures around me. But we thought because of the divine feminine and honoring our ancestors, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, and so on, that would be a beautiful topic that would just fit Allison perfectly because, she's inspired me, to connect again with my ancestors. And so she was like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
And really quick, we have Amanda is here. She joined Allison and I actually last Friday. We had a blast.
The heart's
Oh,
going.
can you do it there? Oh, I wish I
There you
could
go,
do
Amanda.
that. Oh,
I don't know how you do that.
I don't either, honey. It just popped up one day.
I have
yeah.
an iPhone, but I've never,
I don't know either.
Mine doesn't do it either. And
After an
Angie's here.
update, and I don't know if it's StreamYard or if it's iPhone or if it's Google or I don't know.
And Angie's here. Roots and Waves. Hello, my dear. And let's see, waiting for some people else to pop in. Takes just a few minutes. And Amanda says connecting to our ancestors is important. Yes. I mean, I have ancestors that I kind of don't care for, but there are always ones that are there that, I know have been my guides. And Nancy was like this morning, oh, I gonna bring some pictures. And I said, I'll pull up my pictures too. Allison's not at home, so she can't share her pictures, but still, we'll be able to have a beautiful discussion about our ancestors. So,
and I could have brought some. I did see it in time. I don't know. I show them so much, and a lot of the same people are viewing. They're like, "Oh, there she is with her grandma again."
There's going to be me with my grandma again. So
they're here with me, so it's okay.
When I was chatting,
and I'll talk about them
with you, but I didn't go through my boxes. I have a lot of them, but I pulled out some really old ones that I have. So.
All righty, just wait. Okay, I see 7, and we have 3 in chat. So, lurkers, it may just take a while for StreamYard on my end because I know StreamYard's been a little slow with me when I hit my end streams and stuff. There's a little bit of a lag. So, for anybody who's lurking, welcome. Thank you for being here, and we could just get right going in and start talking about it. So I'm just going to give the floor to Allison. Allison, has created a couple of years ago, created an ancestor altar. And for people watching on playback and who are new to the channel, I was wondering if you can explain to share with them what inspired you to do that. How's your practice? What you feel spiritually. Shush. What you feel spiritually that you want to share, you feel comfortable with everybody.
So what inspired me? Honestly, like as soon as you said that, I had to think about it for a second, but I do recall, and I'm pretty sure all of this coincided. A few different things happened. Yeah, a few different things happened within a short period of time. And I'm sorry if you guys can hear any background noise. It's actually fairly quiet, but Anthony, my man, he's in the other room listening to a movie, and I'm going to let him do that because he had a really big work day and he needs to watch a movie. So anyways, it's fine. And hopefully can you guys hear it?
Oh, no.
Okay, cool. Good. I can hear it, but I was like, I bet they can't really hear it. Okay, I digress. So it was about 2 years ago. Actually, you know what? Maybe it's almost 3 or it's almost 2. And I'm sorry, but I can't remember, but it was in October. Okay. So we're approaching October and it does feel like it's been quite a while. It doesn't matter. It was 2 or 3 years ago, October. I actually got, something happened and right now I can't remember what it was. Oh no, I do remember what it was. I went and visited, I found out, much to my surprise, that a grandparent of mine, which would be my 3 times great grandfather and grandmother, were buried in a cemetery that was not that far away from me, which might not sound very surprising. However, I just moved back, I moved back to Michigan about 7 years ago. And I moved to a very different, and I'd been gone for 20 years. And I moved to a very different area than I'd ever lived before. And through a sequence of events, whatever, I found out that this grandparent of mine was buried in the cemetery, I don't know, 5 miles away, 6 miles away, something like that. Yes. And I was like intrigued, and call it weird, call it whatever, or don't call it anything. I love cemeteries. I always have. And I think they're very beautiful, especially the really old ones. And they're usually very quiet. And to me, they feel great. I don't get the whole weird. I don't get any of that. Mm-hmm. I do like the aspect of that. And I love Halloween and I love, spirit and scary things and all that kind of stuff. But that's not part of that for me. So anyways, I decided to go out there and see if I could possibly find his grave. And so I did end up going, and I found it rather easily. I had not really researched it very much, and I had a day off or a half day. I can't really remember. And much to my surprise, I got there and it was not a very big cemetery. And I had a dentist appointment that day. I could probably shorten this whole story because I'm the long winding road kind of person. So long story made short, this was not the plan. My sister and my brother-in-law were going to be nearby, and they were like, oh, you're going? Because I told them what I was doing. I just left a dentist appointment, which is why I went on that day, because it was kind of by there. So they met me. My sister is a medium, which I've mentioned before, but she doesn't practice it, but she's absolutely a natural medium. Anyways, we were there at the cemetery walking around. We'd only been there for a minute. I started being pulled one way, and she's like, let's go this way. She wanted to go a completely different direction. I was like, well, go ahead. I'm going to go this way. Sure enough, she found it within like a couple minutes, right? She like basically walked right to it, which I don't care. I'm like, oh, cool. Because we did not know where it was. And this is not some big cemetery that has like a little office building and you can ask for help. For those of you that know, you can do that. It's at a lot of the cemeteries, the big ones, right? Anyways, long story made short, we found it. And, I had brought a couple crystals and some incense and said a prayer and did all that and tried to connect with him and my grandma, blah, 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 blah. Well, that was it. That happened. And I would say within, I don't even know how long, that actually probably was like at the very end of September. I digress. So end of September, 2 weeks later, something like that. I'm at home one day, woke up in the morning, and I got this strong urge pushing to check my my calendar for a birthday or this or that or whatever. And I had been doing some ancestry stuff with my sister. We had started looking at stuff. We'd just been to the cemetery. Like that kind of stuff was starting to just kind of take interest or I was taking interest in it. Anyways, it was my great-grandfather's birthday. No, my great, 2 times great. So the guy that I had gone and visited, it was his son's birthday that day. No, the following day. It was going to be the next day. And clearly that's spirit talking to me. Or one of my guides, or I'm not going to, who knows, right? So that was wild. And it was October 7th. It was my grandfather's birthday, and there was no way in hell I knew anything about that. And so that is what really ignited everything. And I started looking into him and looked him all up. I went the next day to his grave, drove all the way out. It's an hour away, found it. He had a child that was born that died like 10 days later or something. That child was buried right next to him. His wife, all these aunts and uncles and all these people that some of them I heard of, whatever, that really got me going down a rabbit hole with all of that. But I went out there, I lit incense for everybody, sat at everybody's grave and just kind of sat there and talked to everybody. My sister went with me and my niece. And that's when everything really took off. And I decided I was going to do an altar, and I started setting one up and started talking to a couple different people that were relatives, especially my grandmother, my dad's mom. And these were all her people that I'm talking about. So this is my dad's mother, my paternal grandmother, her family, that direction. I'm cool with all of my relatives, but I was very drawn to go that direction on that side. My dad's father as well, but mostly the way I'm talking about. Anyways, and I set it all up, and it slowly got more and more detailed. It's not over the top. You can take it as far as you want to do it. What I do is I usually have a candle like this, that's there, a 7-day candle. I either do a plain candle, or I do all the religious ones just because I think they're beautiful. I'm not religious at all. This one is Virgin de Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guatemala, or Guadalupe. Yeah, Guadalupe. And I set her out. She's in a beautiful robe, and I just like it. And there'll always be a standing 7-day candle. I don't light it every day, but I light it most days. And then I have lots of pictures out, but it's very beautifully, tastefully done. It's not, I don't like stuff that's super busy, and I'm more simplistic and straight to the point, but that's just me. And then the main ancestors that I really talk to and connect to, I have small framed pictures of all of them that are out, and I light candles separate for them, birthdays, anniversaries, like death anniversary, wedding anniversary. I'm sure I've missed a couple here and there. I don't claim to be perfect, but I'm pretty good with the birthdays. I might miss a death anniversary, certainly miss wedding anniversaries, but I've done those too. I have plants on there, gold coins. I put out coffee regularly. I'll put out food here and there. I will put like little couple Christmas decorations, couple Halloween decorations, stuff like that, keeping it current. Fresh flowers on occasion, just stuff like that. But I stand there and I talk and I pray all the time. And I talk to my whole, what I call my spirit team, soul family. So it's not just my ancestors, but also the archangels that I work with and the animal spirits that I work with very closely, and my angels and my guides. And I dress everybody collectively and individually regularly. And it's a beautiful practice, and I can't recommend it highly enough. It isn't just for my ancestors, like I said, although if you were to look at it, you would think that's primarily what it is. But I do have a couple of very large, beautiful hand-carved wooden angels on my mantle that or altar mantle. It's both that I really love. And it's really nice. And yes, there's crystals there too. And I just can't recommend it enough to anybody that, is interested in doing it, or maybe had never even thought about it. Now they're interested in doing it, or give it some thought or whatever. And you'll know what to put on there. And
Allyson inspired me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to start doing. And if you miss here and there a couple days or whatever, I mean, obviously do what you like. Don't feel bad about it. I mean, as long as your ancestors know and you connect and you do what you can and keep it clean. That's the one thing I would say. Dust it regularly. Take everything off of it. Wipe everything down. Be neat and tidy with it. That would be my suggestion. It's respect, right? Keep it clean. And and change. And I always have I have a chalice that's made out of stone. It's just cool. Put what you want in there, but I always change the water. And that's what I do with mine. So.
And Amanda says, I will put an ancestor altar together here. She just got a new home that she moved into. So
right.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know there was such a thing. I know that a lot of people, especially down south, they like to do the ancestor altars, especially with the history of the Santeria and the hoodoo and the voodoo. That's very important to have all the ancestors represented. But when Allyson told me about it, I was just like, oh, it can just be something simple and, in memory. And yeah, a lot of people do it without really even realizing it when they put all their pictures out and stuff of their loved ones.
It's fun.
So, beautiful. We've had some people sharing a few comments. Ange says, I love cemeteries.
Me too.
I spend a lot of time in them.
Love them. Yep.
Yeah.
And Amanda says that too. I love cemeteries too. My neighborhood is between two churches with cemeteries. So very nice. Scott Scorpio has come in. He's no audio, so he's work lurking. Hello, Scott. And Lori joined us as well, saying hello. And so did Christina. Good day, my dear. She's down in Australia. So thanks for joining us, Christina. So just making sure I didn't miss anybody else's comments. And Angie's like me. Sometimes we're not really good with certain with dates, remembering them. But for me, like my dad, when he passed, I know that date. I know my mom's, death date and her birthday date.
I have something I can say on that.
Okay.
What you can do if you want to, you or whoever, and I did this, do this. I don't know about a lot of you. I mean, there's lots of ways to acquire them. I donate money to SBCA and the Humane Society and all that. So I always get calendars every year. I get several. And so you can take a calendar and it's just for that. You can also set up in your phone. I've done both. And so I handwrite in there. And I like paper, but I have a separate calendar and it's all the birthdays and the dates. And then you don't miss it.
Very nice.
And it was fun sitting down and entering them all. And you can get all that information online. It's all there. You can get everybody's birthday. You can get all of that.
And I think you can get that for free on Ancestry.com without having to pay for a subscription. You can always type in names.
About that. You can when you get your. I mean, you can't really even. Well, maybe something's changed. I mean, I'm in Ancestry, and once your initial thing is through, you have to pay a maintenance fee to stay. To really get any info, but something you can do, find a grave, findagrave.com, which is, you're not going to necessarily find everybody on there because somebody would have had to have a regular person like me or you go in and create an entry for somebody, a loved one, somebody who's died. And often the information isn't right. So, or not fairly often. So it's helpful if there's a picture of the tombstone because usually, it's going to show the dates and all of that. So just want to mention that.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And this morning, Nancy and I were talking, and Nancy gave me a beautiful reading, I just have to say, from my Auntie Donna, who I don't have a picture of. I couldn't find before this. But on my altar, I keep the very first crystal that I ever had that was a gift from her. So this is part of my ancestor altar. And she did a wonderful little spirit message for me today from my auntie. And so thank you, Nancy, again for my beautiful reading. And she was like, well, I'm going to pull out some pictures of my ancestors. So I'm going to go ahead and put Nancy on the bigger screen. And I pulled out a few of mine as well. And we'll go ahead and share that. And really quick, Ange says, y'all won't find, my grave, cremation and scattering of ashes for me. Set me free. Yeah, but there are, I think...
Me too, Ange.
You'll still have all the information.
They'll still have it, yeah. So I'm going to give Nancy over to the big screen and so she can share her pictures.
I don't have a whole lot of pictures. I just had some close to me. But what I have something written down in my book of shadows, and it's regarding an ancestor altar. And I think this is very true. Your body is the ancestral altar Loving your body is loving your ancestors and saying thank you. So my closest ancestors are my mother. This is her wedding picture.
There we go.
And my father, after he came home from World War II, he was in Europe. This was my mother when she was 12.
Oh.
And this is her mother way back when. Now, I'm 77 and my grandmother was 85 when she passed. And I was 8 years old. And then this is a lady. This was my mother's aunt Patty Chapman. And my mother said that she used to take out her teeth and just do the funniest thing. The children just thought she was just absolutely hilarious, you know. And I don't think she had her teeth in when this picture was taken.
Might not have.
And I thought it was a gentleman. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought that was a gentleman.
That's Caddy.
Caddy.
So I don't know if her name was Catherine and they called her Caddy, because that's what
I
my
love
mother. But those are the only pictures that I have really close. But I'll have to find some more maybe next week. Just show a few more.
Nice.
That's awesome. And Ange says, that's beautiful, Nancy, because on a cellular level, our ancestors are very much a part of us.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Most definitely. Right. And hello, Shazad. Our regular on Mondays. Hello, my dear. Thank you for joining us. And for me, I don't know how many of y'all heard, but my grandma, the lady that always sits over my shoulder, she's part of my altar. When I do my shows, people can see her, and I made sure that was okay with her, and she's fine with that. She's like, I got you. I'm, looking over her shoulder.
Oh.
So I really don't have any pictures from my mom's side just because of some of the history with the family. But I do have, and I wish I could have met her. She looked like she was just a wonderful lady. When my mom was pregnant with me, my mom used to just love to dance. Later on we got into roller skating, but dancing. But my mom always loved all of that. And my grandma told my mom, well, that baby's going to be something special, and you're going to just dance her right out of your belly. So I always thought that was cute. I was 1 year old, one going on 2 when she passed. But this was my great grandma, Magdalena McConnell, and I do have her her church little what do you call that when they pass away? You're handed out those little cards for funeral cards. So I do have that. And what's cool about this lady here also is that she was the one that was born on December 4th. And when my mama was pregnant with my sister and was supposed to be due that week, she's like, oh, you're going to have, Teresa, my sister, on my birthday. And mom's like, oh, we'll see. Well, my sister came on the 5th. And she's like, oh, well, close enough. And then when my mom got pregnant 15 years later with me, I was the same week. And my my great grandma thought that, she was like, okay, let's have her on my birthday. I came on the 6th. So for my sister, the 5th, and I'm the 6th. So, but yeah, we get, that's how I can easily remember, her birthday. So we're all Saggies. And then later on, my grandniece Tiana was born on the 10th, and that her first child, my great grandnephew, he was born on the 11th, the day after. So lots of Saggies in our family. And for some people who remember me talking, I think it was yesterday, or was it Friday? We were talking about my cousin. We were talking about self-expression. Oh, Ginger and Nancy the other night about my cousin, about the Leo. Oh, no, it was Karen. We were doing Leo season, and we're talking about the characteristics of Leo. And I said, oh, that was my cousin. She passed at 16, but she was extremely independent, very, very self-expressionistic. And all these things that Karen was saying about Leos were true. And I said, well, she was born on August 9th. And Nancy was like, well, that's the day my mama was born. And so I couldn't find it, but this was my cousin Louise not long before she passed away. But she was her very own style. She didn't go into the hair, salon. She just took scissors, cut her hair all up however she wanted it. And remember, ladies, the bows in the hair from the 80s. So that was my cousin I wanted to share. And our last picture together before her passing. So I have those two. Something really fun also I wanted to share, some old pictures. Now, my grandmother, who sits over my shoulder, this will be like for another day, but she actually made the Chicago newspaper because my grandma here, my great grandma, she married a Jewish boy without the Catholic family knowing. Neither families knew. And back then, in that day, and still kind of into now, a lot of Jewish, Catholic, the religions didn't like people marrying outside of their religion. And my grandma was born, and not long after, my Jewish family, my grandpa Jacob's family, his family kidnapped my grandma and hid her away in some sort of orphanage or convent or something. Some of the stories are a little still confusing, but when they found her, they paid money. This was my vaudeville family. So when people hear me singing, and I say I love to sing, and I was in musicals and choir growing up, this is where I get it from. This was a vaudeville family.
Oh.
And they were actually able to afford to hire a private investigator to help find my grandma, and it made the Chicago news back in 1919.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my grandma down there, and unfortunately, her mom, my great grandma, died shortly after. I don't know if of a broken heart or something else, but that would be my great grandma, Anna Dupuy. Her mom over here. My great aunt. No, wait a minute. Where is she? Oh, right here. This is my great great grandma Anna Dupuy. This is my great aunt Laura, my great uncle Joe, and my great aunt Josephine, and their little puppies. So I think that's where I get my love for theater and still singing and music and everything. And I'll just end really quick so we can get. But this was another picture I wanted to share. This was my papa.
Ah.
So my papa's sitting on a horse. There's no date on it here. It just says 6-9. I don't know if that was 6 to 9 years old or what, but yeah, that's one of the pictures of my papa, still with a cow. So when I smile, you can see I got my papa's cheeks, my grandma's cheeks, and everything. So, but yeah. Oh, and I have to show this. My grandma was so cool. She even loved to ride my dad's motorcycles with him. And so this was before I was born. That's my sister. That's my dad with on his Harley with his hat, and my grandma sitting on the back with him. So, yeah. Thank you for letting me share, ladies. And we had some people coming in. So Shazad, yes, Shazad from Houston. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Okay, I share that with us from Aunt. Oh no, touching again on ancestors and a cellular connection.
Mm-hmm.
I was in deep thought about that yesterday while watching my grandma's funeral. Aunt's just lost. For people who don't know, Aunt's just lost her grandma recently, and she says it hurts so deep because we are losing a part of us, literally. But you still know that she's around you, and you carry her within you as well.
That's right.
She'll always be with you, my dear, and we still keep sending you lots of love and hugs during this difficult time. And Coyote Rosenbaum has joined us. Hello, Coyote, my dear. Beautiful Fat. Thank you, Fatima.
And Jacaranda is
Jackie
here.
Jacaranda just joined us.
Hey, Jackie.
And another topic that we were wanted to kind of discuss is the fact that I know in some of our shows and other channels, and there's been a few discussions. I think, I don't know if Allyson, I couldn't really remember if we talked about this on a Friday night. I don't think we've done it on a Saturday night with me and Tom or Jeff. But the fact that some people believe that we can heal our ancestral lines. There was a couple cards I pulled from my one deck that were just so beautiful. I wanted to pull in honor of Allyson being here with us and sharing about her ancestors as the grandmother's card, and it says remember your roots. So I wanted to share this beautiful card because it's all about remembering our grandmothers and our ancestors. And Ange, really quick for you, sweetheart. See that grandma looking over this female figure curled up, sleeping, crying, or whatever. That's still grandma looking over you. She's watching you, dear. So she's always going to be with you, just like my grandma is there. Allison's grandma, Nancy's grandma, all of our loved ones are looking over us. And this was the topic of healing the mother line, doing ancestral work. And I'm going to open, Allison's our guest, so I'm just going to go and open up the floor for Allyson. Let me see if we can get us back here. And I think we touched once on this briefly, Allyson, but I was just wondering if you wanted to share with everybody, people in chat as well, join the conversation. Do you feel it's possible for us women this day and time, even doesn't even necessarily be women, but just with this being a divine feminine, we're talking with women, do you think it's possible for us to help heal and send healing energies to our ancestors, our ancestors, no matter really, I don't know how far back in our lines, in our ancestral lines, some people say just maybe a couple generations, or there's really no set specific. But do you feel it's possible for us to do healing work, like when you do your ancestors and you acknowledge your ancestors? Do you feel any of that acknowledgement sends healing energy to help heal ancestral wounds, pains that they went through, especially the women? Just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Sure. And so I think that's a little different than what we talked about before, but I want to address like what you just said. So yeah. However, what I mean is anytime you're praying at your altar and you're addressing and talking to your ancestors, you're sending love, which is always going to be healing. Always. But what I think and I could be wrong, I think what you're talking about is healing like something that happened like decades ago or something like that.
Generations, yeah.
So to me, and again, this is just my own thought, I wouldn't, to me, whatever happens to the people that were involved, they're the ones that carry the pain or the sorrow or the trauma or whatever. And so as a soul, when they cross over, they work on healing themselves. So do I think that me here in an incarnation, I can heal somebody's trauma that happened when they were incarnate in the past? I just don't see any crossover there. However, what I do know or feel or believe what we can do, which would be healing in some sort of way, is that like there's some sort of, and a lot of families have this, if there's some residual, I'm just going to call it garbage, that tends to happen, like in families, every time there's a new, somebody new is born and there's somebody else added, whatever, anything that's going on in the family that's undesirable, it stops with you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be healing. But is that on a spiritual level? That's on an earth plane level. So, but it's still very important, but I don't know if it's exactly what you're talking about. And so I'll give an example. I'm sure you guys know what I mean, but I'll just give an example. Mm-hmm. So like my dad's dad was a drunk. And so My dad didn't drink at all, at all, at all, at all, at all, ever. Like he's probably never even had a drink. And I don't drink. My sister doesn't drink. And so, but does that mean that it's gone? Well, we know with alcoholism, there's some sort of a gene supposedly and whatever, it could be triggered and whatever, but like we're doing our part to not have it move over, you know, that kind of thing. My dad's mom had, I don't think she was ever properly diagnosed, but she had some sort of mental illness that went on for years and years and years. And she did seek treatment for it, but treatment back then was not great. And when he would drink, she would go off the deep end. So they would trigger each other. So what that did was made awareness for within the family of like, you know, if anything's bothering you, to talk about it, to, you know, that kind of thing. Like there was no like shame and like if you're feeling depressed or if you're, you know, whatever, right? So, and she's not the best example because she did have something going on chemical. And again, she was never really properly diagnosed. But I mean, I think what you can do within a family, you know, is deal with that kind of stuff. And one last thing that I'll say, my grandfather, that was my dad's dad, that was a drunk, his father was drunk, and his father and his brothers. So it was falling, you know, generation after generation.
Yep.
So I think that's healing, what we can do on the earth plane to stop nonsense, you know, that kind of thing. Also parenting, like the way I was parented, I parented my child very, very, very different intentionally. Because I know that I didn't get what I needed in a lot of different ways. So it was going to stop with me. And it had happened to my mom and my dad because of the parents. Well, especially that my dad had, the ones I was just talking about. My mom had great parents, but they went through the depression and they didn't have a lot of money. And my mom was kind of like an oops baby. And she kind of was sort of, sorry, grandma, grandpa, but she was kind of not my grandpa, my grandma. She was kind of treated that way. And so anyways, I think we can do that kind of thing. But as far as like healing, I think that we all as souls, we take ownership, we take care of ourselves. We don't need anybody to save us. As a soul, you take care of yourself. The love and the healing and the good prayers and the desire is beautiful and lovely. But I really do think we are in charge of our own soul involvement.
Okay, because that's what I was, because I know that it's been I've been in some chats where they talk about healing the ancestral line, especially the women.
Yeah, I've heard it, but I don't. Yeah,
and
that's how I feel.
So I think to myself, well, maybe if the healing I do for myself, like when I said it was going to end with me with the domestic violence, at least for me, I was hoping that energy, that healing and the healing that I've done for myself, what my understanding is that energy could be carried backwards in time in a way to help, because some people feel that, again, time isn't necessarily linear, that it's circular and it folds in and over on each other, and that possibly some of the healing that we do could very well maybe have a rippling effect that could maybe still touch parts of the past that might still be, you know, that could still be experienced. I mean, quantum physics and everything, you know, for me, I understand that time isn't necessarily linear. So for me, I'm not exactly sure too how it works, but for me, it brings some sort of comfort, hoping that maybe the healing that I do might help lessen some of the pain or suffering, you know, in the past, if that is possible, if that is true, where, you know, certain things are continuing to play out. And that's why I thought it would be just a really interesting conversation to talk about with me in this lifetime. I was hoping that I could stop some of the domestic violence and the cycles in my family by coming back here and trying to teach the younger generation that was in my immediate family and maybe my sister. But I just kind of, you know, was told to F you, mind your own business kind of thing. So all I can do is that just, send love out to them and hope that at some point they find peace and hopefully maybe stop certain cycles that are continuing, in their lifetime and in their upcoming generations. Before I get to comments, Nancy, what would you like to share, sweetheart?
Well,
Your insight on that.
I think that our ancestors are close to us, and I think that they're watching us. I'm not talking about my grandmother. I mean, I'm talking about the ancestral line way, way back where, it really can't be traced. It's so far back. But way back then, life was very, very different, and it was very hard. And I think that when they look at us and see what has come through the line over the centuries and centuries and centuries, that there's a sense of healing when they see us and what they created, because we're part of their creation, that's come down. And when I can heal things within me, I think that it makes them happy. But I also think that it makes them happy. It gives them it's hard to explain. I think when we acknowledge that we realize how difficult things were for them, that supports them in a way that it doesn't make them happy. It completes them. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know.
It makes sense to me. It's like a part of them, like there's a small part of them that's healing themselves. They're feeling the sense of.
Well, yeah.
I know what you're saying, but it's so hard to put it into words.
It's hard to put it into words.
They can feel it, and it might bring them a sense of peace, maybe a sense of,
right,
or completion.
I think
lesson
that,
learned.
like if you set up an altar for your ancestors, and I mean, I can have pictures that I have of ancestors, but for me, the altar is not just for them. It's for the ones that I have no way of knowing who they are, but they know who I am.
Yep.
And that to me is what I think is beautiful. And I can feel them around me at times, and for that reason, I don't want to waste my life. I want to do what I am supposed to do in this lifetime.
Right.
And I don't want to waste it. I don't, I want to honor them and show. And for me, it's a spiritual path that I'm on. That is of utmost importance to me right now. And I'm thankful because I don't think that my spirituality in past lives was the way it is now. I just have that feeling.
I'm sure it wasn't.
And so that's where I am. That's where I am with it. And I have seen ancestral altars that, have a little shot glass of brandy on them, or have tobacco, like there'll be a cigar or a pipe with tobacco in it. And just, old, some money, old money, for the ancestors. But,
that's how I know sometimes my dad is around. I'll smell like a scented cigar or a pipe. And I'll be like, oh, yes, Dad, I know you're around.
Yeah, and you can put out something that they enjoyed. Like my mom loved peppermint candy. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So we've been having people share. Coyote says, my dad would ride his Indian motorcycle from Beaver, Utah to CLC in the middle of the winter.
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. Thank you. I was wondering what CLC was. He would have turned 101 on the 11th of this month. So happy birthday to Coyote Rosenbaum's dad. Very cool. With Ange and Amanda have really been sharing some personal stuff with us in chat. Healing generational stuff, in my opinion, involves forgiveness, but most importantly, breaking those generation chains so that the pain, trauma, curse, drama, etc. doesn't continue on. Amanda also shared with us, our ancestors ask us to release what they may have done in their life, is what I believe and what Spirit has told me. I still think it's interesting discussion to have. And then she continues with, they don't want us to carry any burdens that belongs to them. And I think, Nancy, when that might be something, there might be like a lightness of their spirit when they know that we've acknowledged their burdens and we chose not to carry the same ones. I think that helps maybe lighten their sense and helps their well-being, knowing that they feel uplifted because we're choosing a different path. That might be kind of to what we were trying to describe there.
Right.
Ange continues with, exactly, Amanda, and the reasoning for their actions and choices stem from the environment that they were in and circumstances of their time, most definitely. And Amanda also adds, my example, my dad had a child before he met my mom. I didn't find out until after he died. He reached out to me asking to have a relationship with me and wanting to know about my dad he didn't have. I felt awkward talking to him. The guy called me sis every time he called me. It made me uncomfortable, but I felt like I should talk to him for him to learn about my dad. I was told it's up to me to decide on whether to have a relationship with him or not and not carry my dad's burdens. Now I have made the choice not to have any kids of my own out of fear my kids may lose me young. Mom and her dad both had emphysema. I'm not sure if y'all mean it in this way. I know for me, I didn't want to have kids because I knew what required, I just knew that I would not be a proper parent. I just knew that I think growing up, I had a career that I wanted. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to pursue art. I had seen what relationships were like in my family, not with just my mom and her abusive back and forth relationship with a boyfriend outside of my parents' marriage. And for me, also having been raised with my mother, the way her mental health and her way of discipline and what I was learning as a young child, I have still, when I came back from Arizona, New Hampshire, I talked to my niece and nephew. I was in tears and I apologized to them because I used to scream at them. I used to hit them. I was like a 10, 12-year-old going on my teen year, being left alone, to babysit, especially during the summer with no school. I didn't know how to look after kids. I couldn't handle it. And there were times when I would just yell and not like beat on, but I would hit, or it was just because it was what I saw my mom do. I saw what my sister did. I saw what, you know what I mean? So by that time, when I got into my late teens, I knew that I wasn't going to have kids. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a choice all of us make. And Ange says, I love the smell of a good cigar and pipe tobacco. The memories flood in when I smell that. I don't smoke, but that smell takes me back. And Amanda says, Allyson and Nancy, I do understand the altar in that way. I never looked at it like an altar. I did have pictures with my parents' pictures and a Buddhist statue from my dad. I had put money candles, and flowers with their pictures on important dates like birthday, anniversary of death, etc. So she wanted to let you two know that. And hello, Nor. Thank you for being here. And we're caught up with comments. And I didn't know, Allyson, if there was anything else you wanted to add or share. Mm-hmm.
Well, something just popped in my mind.
Sure.
My mother's father, when he was young, his mother died, and he had a younger sister, Mary Emma. And their father, now my grandfather died when I was 16 and he was 95. So this happened a long time ago when he was a little boy. And his father remarried and married a woman who was very cruel to the children. She was crueler to Mary Emma, and she would take her fingernails and actually pinch flesh out of her ears, and she had like little scalloped ears. And I knew her, as an older woman when she grew up. But my grandfather, when he got married to my grandmother, he told her, he said, "I will not discipline my children." He said, I will provide for them, and I will love them, and be the best father I can. But I don't want to carry forward what I experienced as a child. He said, "I'm afraid that I'll lose my temper." And so she did the disciplining. And at one time when he had typhoid fever, he wanted my uncle, who was the oldest son, to close some of the shutters on the house. And Uncle Joe was scared, the wind was blowing and everything. And my grandpa slapped him. And he always regretted that, because he did not want to raise his hand to his children, But through that, really, my mother's family, they did not experience any abuse. And so that did not go forward. If my mother had experienced that, there's no telling how I would have been treated, So that was one way that it was stopped. But children are so helpless,
Fatima shared, "I smelled wine in my basement before my mom passed away. My dad used to make wine in the basement. He died 27 years before my mom." So, Fatima, you were alone for quite some time, sweetheart. Your mom was. But thank you for sharing that. And Ange wanted to share a quote that comes to mind is, think of healing generational stuff as we repeat what we don't repair. And then there's
I
some.
think that's what it means when we talk about healing ancestral pain and things like that, because maybe there's stuff that happened, far enough back that we don't even realize it happened, and yet it comes up. And like, if you it's not right, you need to heal it so that it doesn't go forward,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you ladies were ready and open, I know Allyson said that she didn't have more to share. I think we got caught up with chat. We're still going to, Allyson, we always do, divine feminine, readings. If anybody would like, a couple cards message from the divine feminine. And perhaps we can maybe tweak it today, Nancy, and say, are there any, messages from my ancestors, maybe the women in our families, any feminine ancestors, female ancestors that might want to come through and have a message. Are you okay with that, Allyson? Because I know sometimes you need a little bit more than generals. What do you think, sweetheart? You're muted. Whoops. She's tipsy today.
No, it just keeps minimizing, and I don't know why. I couldn't even see the mic to unmic it. I can read on anything. Whatever. And yeah, whatever you want to
Nancy, do you want to do any, divine, just do divine feminine, or do you want to?
Whatever anybody wants.
And we could be.
The chat.
So what we can do is, if anybody would like a divine feminine reading message,
Okay.
do the shush. My God, Kat. Type me in all caps, and if a message comes through that's ancestral, we're open to that.
Yeah.
So we can do that, so everybody knows. Putting the me in caps, and no, you cannot come up right now. My God, he sneaks right up on me, and now he goes, "Wow!" Scares the bejesus out of me. My goodness. So take a quick sip. Not that I have much left.
I'll be 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, Amanda. So we can do divine feminine readings, and if an ancestor comes through and you feel like it's an ancestral message, then our chatters will know. So I'm just going to go ahead and move my pictures aside. Okay, so all righty. Okay. So let me go ahead. No, you get out of here. Go on. Not right now. So alrighty, let's see. Let me start highlighting. Hello, Teresa Hadarian. Oops, that wasn't your question. I just commented. Hello, Agador. I hear you, beautiful boy. Alrighty. So divine message. Okay, Coyote. Alrighty. So, as always, please, remain present in the chat for your reading. Let me just check one more time, because I just saw chat jump. Okay. So first up is Amanda.
How many are we pulling? Cards or what?
It's whatever you feel drawn to, like we usually do.
Okay.
I do want. Oh, there. Time to bring up the Victorian cards for today too.
I can go.
Okay. There you go. This is
Hi,
Amanda.
So I'm pulling from the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck. Yes, I'm using an Oracle deck. So I got Satira. And and I'm just pulling one card. This is about saying exactly what you think, saying exactly what you feel, not holding back in all situations, and just being unapologetically you. Even, not intentionally hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. But if you have anything to say, you just say it. You just say it. Sometimes, people just need to hear the things that they don't want to hear, that kind of thing. Again, saying it nicely and kindly with love, and I'm sure you would. But this is about being brazen, just saying what, maybe other people, don't want to say, or even acting on situations that maybe nobody else would take action, that kind of thing. It's about, moving boldly forward and just doing what you see is needed, and or being shown to you by spirit what action to take, which I'm sure would be the case with you. But that's what I have for you.
Oh, beautiful. I miss that deck. I used to bring that out all the time. It's a gorgeous deck, everybody. But you got Nancy.
Amanda, I pulled 3 cards for you. The first card is Worship at the Temple. You are the temple. So, embrace all that you are. Speak to yourself with kindness. Become aware of how you speak to yourself. Because talking about the ancestors, you are very special, and you are a product of all of this love and hope that's coming through the generations. The final card that I pulled for you is from a new deck that I got today, and it is the seeds of the past or the fruits of the future. So I think in a way that is a message from the ancestors for you, that you know, what has happened in the past, the good things that have happened, that is your future, and that is what you're looking towards. And that's what I have for you, Amanda.
Nice. And Amanda shared something, and I'll get that, and I'll share that with everybody, Amanda, when I get through your cards. So for my Victorian vintage wisdom oracle, for me, this is very ancestral coming through. There's a lot that, and we discussed this, and I think coming up in past readings, there's things that you need to release, especially now when we just had the full moon. We're still in that energy of the full moon, releasing, letting go. You have to go out into nature, be like this lady here with her horns, playing in the forest, being with nature, being in one with your divine feminine, your intuitive self, and going out and not being afraid to release. I think you had the card last night. What you release opens up a space for something beautiful to come in. Listening. I think Allyson mentioned about listening with her reading. I heard the word listen or listening. And I got listening card for you. And so when you talk to your ancestors, they are listening to you, and they are giving you messages. So be sure for you to listen. You have that beautiful communication of being open enough where you can go into meditation and be able to connect with spirit. So know that they are listening to you and you are listening to them. And the last card I have is grace. And you know when they are around, because you can feel that beautiful grace, that energy that comes within. It's like that part where when we heal parts of ourselves, they can feel that beautiful grace going up, and it uplifts their spirits and it helps them heal in many ways, I think, as well. So that's what I have for you, my dear. And let me put this back. And there was something I wanted to share that Amanda shared in chat. My dad was born in the concentration camps. It was when FDR put an executive order for all Japanese Americans to be imprisoned after Pearl Harbor was hit. So Amanda's dad was in those concentration camps here in America. I'm so sorry, Amanda. I believe you might have mentioned that before, and that's just, I can't imagine what he went through. But I'm sure he's very proud of the woman that you have become. And she said, Allyson, so beautiful. Thank you. Brazen, I love that for you, Amanda. Fitting, you are powerful. There you go. Now you got it working. And Nancy, so beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. And Heather, so beautiful. Thank you. You're welcome, my dear. So up next is Jackie. Well, I'm going to a different deck for Jackie.
I have cards for Jackie.
Okay.
You want? Jackie, I got two cards that came out for you that are talking about wisdom, and it says, heed your wisdom. You have a tremendous amount of wisdom within
That's
you.
Beautiful.
Some of this wisdom, you know, I'm sure has come through your ancestor, your lineage. But it says become aware and listen to the wisdom of the body. And I don't think we do enough of that. We know a lot more than we think we do. We just don't listen to ourselves. And I think this is an important aspect of us. And the final card that I got was the card of freedom. And I love this because I had also gotten out this deck. This is a Heather Made Me Do It deck. And I love this card of freedom for you because when you heed your wisdom and you become aware of all that you are, there's a certain amount of freedom that just lets you fly and be who you truly are. Embrace all that's around you with love and gratitude. And that's what I have for you, Jackie.
Beautiful. And she is true 100%. And get over to Allyson. Oh, and this is Jackie. So she can see your name.
Jackie, I'm going to be pulling from the same deck for everybody. And this is a very powerful deck. But anyhow, I got Nundi, and Nundi talks about truth, which is similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the reading I did for Amanda, but truth. So this is about making sure you're always being honest in all ways, not to mean that you're not an honest person, but this is about speaking your truth, saying your truth, living in your truth, expressing your truth. Yeah. Also, it can be looking at a truth. So I don't know how any of this applies to you, but that is absolutely what this card is. It's a beautiful card, by the way, which I will show it. This gorgeous woman, and she's at a river, and she's looking into the water at her reflection. She's seeing her own truth. And sometimes that means, I'll just, say the shadow aspect of this. This is looking at stuff we don't want to look at. This can be in our environment, in ourselves, in a relationship, whatever it is, but apply it wherever it makes sense. There isn't, actually, I'll read the affirmation. I don't usually read from the book, as you guys all know, but I will. And I should have done that with Amanda's. There's a declaration and for each one, which is basically a mantra or whatever, but it's the truth is my friend, which is so true, right? A lot of us, I'm sure we've all done this at some point. There's some things we don't want to look at, we don't want to deal with, we run from, we hide from, we live in fear, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying that is one aspect of what this card is. And I love that. The truth is my friend. I heard a saying the other day, not a saying, or somebody say a quote, and I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's about, and it relates to this kind of, I'm going to destroy it, but I'm going to say it anyways. There's something about inviting your demons to tea, sitting down with the things that you're afraid with, confronting it, your shadow side, and just, they're going to be there anyway. And it becomes less scary the more you know. And the more you look at stuff and deal with it and whatever. And I'm not saying that's your case, but I'm just saying this is a very far-reaching card. Again, this deck is very powerful, but this is what this means. Apply it where it makes sense. But that's what I pulled for you.
Beautiful. I love the colors in that deck.
I do too.
Allyson, they're so saturated. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
It's such a gorgeous deck. So Jackie, the first card I have for you, sweetheart, is Come to Me. And I was sitting here looking at the last two cards because the cards are talking about healing. And I'm thinking, who has come to me? And I think this is kind of resonating with Allison's card about looking in and seeing the reflection. Because in this card, we have two hummingbirds coming together and touching the tips of their beaks. And above is this honeybee. Right underneath is this beautiful honeybee. And the honeybee is also a beautiful representation of the goddess of the divine feminine, of the sweetness of our life. And for me, Come to Me, I feel like this is you coming to you. The divine feminine is saying that you are, and your ancestors are supporting you in your healing of coming to yourself, looking at your reflection, looking at both sides of ourselves. And I just love, it says here, it's like attracting like a rose, like a honeybee is attracted to a rose when we blossom. And when we blossom, we heal, we blossom, we let our true light shine out. We're able to receive. And then the abundance and our desires come into fruition. And the last two cards that I have that is the breathing rose, heart healing, emotions, connection, and time eases. So whatever you're working on, looking in that reflection, with the coming together of the hummingbirds, opening up and coming to yourself, just knowing that, taking those deep breaths, feel like that rose and blossoming and opening and releasing, and just know that the healing that needs to be taking place, especially in your heart. Um, just a lot of these things just don't happen overnight. It takes a while for all of us. It says time eases. If we rush too fast to heal, we sometimes miss, especially when that water. I keep thinking back to Allison's card with the water, with the reflection and with the ripplings. So if we too much rippling, we're not looking at all the parts that could be healed. We might be rushing through. So just taking that time and letting all that come up at once. And your last card is healing is happening. You are, and the card says right here, you're not broken. None of us are. Trust in the process. It's safe to soften and to be yourself. And there's again the beautiful women, our ancestors behind us, our spirit guides. And I love our spirit guides can be our ancestors. And just returning to that feminine side, the divine feminine, the mothering to nurture ourselves. And that's what I have for you, Jackie. And Nancy, you got a chance to read, right? For Jackie? Yeah, okay.
I did.
I love hummingbirds and bees. So do I. A park that we go to, we see hummingbirds there. So just really quick, I want to share some.
What's the name of the deck? Excuse me. What's the name of the deck that Allyson is using?
It is the African Goddess Rising by
Okay. Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
Allison, what's the it's African Goddess Rising, but
It
Nancy
is. I was just writing a message to Amanda. Sorry, because I'm on my phone, so I have to go out to do that. It's the African Goddess Rising Oracle, and it's by Abiola, Abiola Abrams, Abrams.
Okay. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It is. It's a very powerful deck.
Okay. It is. It's beautiful. So next up is Fatima.
Let's see.
I thank you everybody again for joining us. You're welcome, Jackie. And Jackie had also said thank you to Nancy and to Allyson as well.
I'm ready for Fatima.
Oh my goodness, you're on point.
I tell you what. The first card that I got for you, Fatima, is Remember Your Innocence. And this sounds like a simple thing, but it's not really. There was a time when we were all so innocent, and we need to remember that, and to remember how it felt, and to embrace our inner child, where that innocence lives. Along with that, I drew the card of mystery, and I love this for you. It says, the mysterious is unknowable except by divine revelation. When we acknowledge and trust the unexplainable, we can transcend the ordinary. Nurture the intimate union of the soul with spirit through quiet contemplation and prayer. Be curious and respect intuition. Welcome the mystery. And the final card that I got is a Buddhist cone, and it is know who you are and be what you know.
I like that.
So embrace that innocence, look for the mystery, and know who you are. That's what I have for you.
Ooh, beautiful. Allyson?
All right. So Fatima, I have a set. And this is about, and I've never really understood the correlation with the picture. There's this beautiful goddess lady, and she's here with her baby on her lap facing her, and her baby's nursing. It's a beautiful picture. You can't really see it on the screen, but it's very sweet. I like it. I just don't really see how it really connects with the message. This is about letting go of any sort of control, and to just kind of let go and let God kind of mentality, right? So if there's anything, which is easier said than done, of course, because a lot of us try to twist and contort and control things here and there. This is about just allowing and just letting go. So if you have a situation, or maybe it's just your life in general, I don't know. You're the only one that would know this. There's something here about relinquishing all control and just surrendering and just throwing your hands up in the air and just allowing something to happen. That doesn't mean be reckless, of course, and I'm sure you understand that, but that's what this card means. So, oh, and I'll tell you what the declaration is. It says, everything I need to know finds me at the perfect time. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to, the other thing that you can say is, you can even, if you want, you could say, I surrender. I surrender. And again, maybe this makes sense to you right now. Maybe it doesn't. But just remember this. Maybe it'll show itself if it hasn't already. But this is actually a great message for anybody. You know, we only have so much control, right? You know, life happens. Life just happens. So that's what I have for you.
Thank you, Allyson. And Elena, welcome. These aren't general readings. On Mondays, we do divine feminine messages. Nancy and we discuss the divine feminine. And that is what we are doing today. And Allyson, we have still, let me take a look here. 2 more people on our list. Are you good with time?
I can do 2 more. Yes.
Okay. So let me go back. So, Elena, we're not going to have time to add anybody else to the list, but please feel free to hang out with us. A lot of these messages that we give that come from other people are also beautiful messages we can take home or take to heart, you know, for ourselves as well. So thank you again for joining us. Fatima, I have perception, and I look at her red shoes. I love her red ballet slippers in this. But it's all about perception. Sometimes there are masks that we have to wear um, to keep our boundaries in place, to keep us safe. But this is always about watching the masks that we show, or what people show us. And for the perception card, I also got the dream card. And I like this because perception and dreams is dreaming, connecting with your higher self, with your guides, with your higher power. So for me, it's like start paying attention, the perception of that you have, the symbolism that you see in your dreams, what you see during the day, just being very alert. You're very perceptive. You see things, you see the masks, you know, that people wear, and then there are masks that we have to wear as well. But with the dreams, really start paying attention to your dreams if you haven't already. I think that's where a lot of your ancestors come to speak with you. And the last card I have is choice. So with perception and dreams, whatever questions that you have that come up in your life, or a decision that you have to make, a choice, things that come up, know that you can go to your dreams, you can go to your ancestors, your higher power for those messages, and trust not just in your dreams and going outside of yourself looking for answers, but trust that inner knowing because you have them as well. So that's what I have for you, Fatima. All righty. And Bora Bora, hello, Janet. Can't stay. That's okay. But thank you for popping in, my dear, and being with us. And so,
It's so
thank
nice
you.
to have Elena with us, isn't it? Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Elena. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes.
So let's see. Wow, how this is wonderful. I had these cards before. Really, they're sending me messages. Okay. All righty. Next up is Teresa Hadarian, and she was hoping to have maybe her two grandmothers coming through in spirit, Susan and Catherine. We'll pull cards, Teresa. We'll give you our messages, and we'll see. And you can, let us know if any of that resonates with you, and we'll take it from there. Are you ready, Nancy? Or
yes. Let's see. This is okay.
Well, she's Teresa Hadarian.
The first card that I got for you is the card that says restore balance. This is a message. This looks like could possibly be an ancestor. Restore balance into your life. Gaze at the stars, but walk on the earth. We have to have that balance when we don't want to stay up in the ethers too long. We have to come back down to earth and ground ourselves and live our life. But I think the most powerful card that I drew for you, Teresa, is you are wanted. There is a home waiting within. And I think this is how you connect with your ancestors. You go within because they're within you. Ange was talking about a cellular level. But when you quiet your all the external noises and you embrace what's in and you open yourself to messages, that's when you begin to hear things and you realize that they are with you. And those gut feelings, those thoughts that just come out of nowhere, those are messages from your guides and your ancestors. And that's what I have for you.
Beautiful. And really quick, Amanda says that she didn't see the message that Allyson sent. Allyson, the message you sent was to us backstage. So it's a private chat that you sent the message to. Is it okay if I share it really quick?
Yes.
Okay, so Allyson said, brazen message mantra. I am bold, brave, shameless, and brazen. So that's what Allyson.
That's the mantra. Yeah. Sorry, I never use the chat when I'm on here, and I thought it was the right spot, but apparently I wasn't. Thanks, Heather, because I wouldn't have known.
I was looking and saying, I got a message from somebody, and then I'm like, I'm brazen. What? No,
got it. So when I did it the way I did it, that was like a chat for within StreamYard.
Yeah, that's for us, for the readers and the guests.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Teresa Ngame is the goddess, and this is about desire. So this is about dreaming big, allowing yourself to want something that you really do want, so that you can create the life that you really do want. And it also talks about like manifesting, see it, smell it, feel it, whatever it is. This might even go back to childhood, something that you wanted as a child that never happened, or maybe it just seemed too lofty or out of reach. We are dealing with the ancestors here. Somebody's telling you that you can do whatever this is. So this is something here. I have no idea what this is. But this is about something that you do desire. Maybe you're not allowing yourself to desire it. I have no idea. This is just, these are the different aspects of this card. And I'm sorry, I don't connect as much. I do connect, but like when I'm reading the tarot. So I read the message of what the oracle card is, and hopefully you'll know what it means to you. This is, again, a beautiful picture. Most of these are really nice on, and there's a glare. I'm sorry. It's not really showing that great. Oh, and there's a mantra. Oh, and something else that this says, and I'm actually going to read from the book. I'm going to go ahead and mention this because, and again, it may or may not apply to you, but this is worth saying out loud. It says, does your desire flow from love or fear? Manifestations that come from fear-based desires keep you safe and small. Desires that come from your soul expand your world, which totally makes sense. Anyways, the mantra, the declaration is, what I desire desires me, right? Which is all about manifestation. So hopefully that means something to you, Teresa. That's what I have for you.
All righty. She said something to ponder. Thank you. And we'll see what else she has to share. Teresa, I have the Fertile Void. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's inner winter. It's going within. It's going within our void, within our darkness. And it's all about rest, patience. This is where the potency, the potential for life to begin to grow, and not necessarily meaning a human life pregnancy, but any desires, any creative endeavors, anything spiritual, anything that we want to manifest, starts in the fertile void. And it's beautiful because she's just breathing out what it is that she wants to create, and it's starting to rise through the dark void, the waters, like no mud, no bloom, with the lotus flowers and the lily flowers. The next card I have for you is the Return. A new story is there's a new story. It says secret beginnings, a new story you're starting. They're saying you have to, it's you decide. When it comes to your grandmothers, I'm getting alignment. So if you envision your grandmothers and ask them for their guidance to assist you on this new beginning, to align with their energy, to help you give guidance, that's something that I'm feeling drawn from this card to say, and know that everything is all coming together. And again, it's hard to see on the screens the beautiful complexities and layers of these cards. And the last one for you is, again, healing is happening. And it's a powerful message for all of us. We are not broken. It says you are not broken, but we are not broken. Again, trust in the process, Teresa. It's safe to soften. And to me, there's your beautiful grandmothers, your ancestors, your guides, all coming together to surround you, to help you through this. And that's what I have for you. And look who popped in. Hello, Ramona. Moonscarab is here. Hello, my dear. It's good to see you. Alrighty, and for our last read is Coyote. She will like our reading, and she says, "You're welcome, Teresa. The breath of God, the Creator, the Creatrix too, the Goddess. This is divine feminine. So we have the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And on Mondays, Nancy and I love to honor the feminine. And Nancy, are you already set?
I am. It's
She is.
interesting what came out. These two cards, look how similar they are.
That is cool.
Isn't that cool?
You can't make it up.
Coyote, this is the message. The first message is a message of balance, centered energy, and self-care. Taking care of yourself, being centered within yourself. This card is the card of risk. And listen to what it says. Nothing is as perilous as stagnation. You risk everything if you risk nothing. Do something you feel you cannot do. Challenge makes us stronger. Be courageous. Take a chance. What do you have to lose? Dare yourself. And the final card, I love this. It's from the Cone deck. The wave and the sea are one. And the way I take it with these two cards is you are more than what you see. You see yourself as a wave, but actually you're the ocean. And you need to embrace the wholeness of yourself and not just this little thing that laps in. You need to be the whole great big ocean. And that's what I have for you, Coyote.
Very nice. Thank you. And Allyson.
Yes, Coyote, I have Asaseya is the goddess. This is a beautiful picture. This is she's like the world, and she's sitting there and she's nursing her baby. It's so sweet. This is about joy, and this is about you know, your happiness looks different than anybody else, right? So, and allowing yourself to be happy and to be joyous, and not always, but sometimes when I've gotten this card, it's about sometimes, and I'm not saying this is true for you, I'm just sharing this. There can be, and a lot of people do this, and I've done it a couple times here and there, but it's more common than I would have thought, I think. And again, I'm not saying this is the case, but I just want to share an aspect of this, especially because it came to mind. Sometimes we go through really rough things, especially, and then when everything turns good, it's like almost like people don't embrace it, or they're afraid to embrace it, or they're so used to things being topsy-turvy and crazy that when everything calms down and that it's lovely, you almost don't trust it, or you can't really enjoy it. This is about embracing your joy, embracing what makes you happy, allowing yourself to be happy, allowing yourself to experience things that make you happy, your joy, spread your joy. Don't feel guilty. Like if somebody is around you and they're having a hard time, you know, care for them, feel for them, you know, be empathetic, but, you know, don't let that feel like, or don't let it be like you don't feel like you can truly be happy because somebody else is suffering. That's nonsense. Be selfish in a good way. When we were in my generation, you were raised to think selfish was a bad thing, and it's not. It's only bad if it's at the detriment of somebody else, right? So this is about just feeling joy, expressing your joy, you know, finding your happiness where you can. It's also about living in the moment. A lot of people tend to live in the past or dwell in the past or whatever. This is very much also about being happy. If things are good, it's a good day, enjoy the day. Don't worry about tomorrow. You know, it doesn't mean not to not be prepared, but this is very much about just, you know, finding happiness where you find it and realizing that you deserve it. And so, yeah, that's what I have for you. And love this card. So anyways, there you go.
All righty. And she says, makes sense, Allyson. So
Good.
it resonated with her. And also she said, thank you. And she says, beautiful, Nancy, for your reading. And we've had some new people come in. And can one of my, okay, so one of my mods doesn't see. So Shamira, we don't do third-party questions here. We don't read other people's energies without their permission. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it says questions are closed, and we are only doing divine feminine readings today. But thank you for dropping by and saying hello. And so, Coyote, whoops, that's not me, that's Nancy. There I am. So, Coyote, for you, I pulled from the one deck that I thought would be using more tonight, but I guess it was waiting for you. And I love the last card because it brings us all into full circle here with the show. So, Coyote, you got the winged wise ones, which is angelic help and miraculous aid. So, whatever it is that you may be currently going through, that you need angelic help, it's always there. Even if you're not going through something right now. And this is a beautiful message for everybody, is that the angels are always there to help us. They don't care about, what, they don't belong to any specific religion, spirituality. They're beautiful divine beings that are there to help us when we ask. They won't do all the work for us, but they will guide us to opportunities and give us signs and expect miraculous aid. So putting that out there, calling upon your angels, your angelic, whatever angelic realm that you work with. And this also, angelic could be our ancestors. Some people feel that their ancestors can be angels. So if you feel that you have ancestors that you consider angels, this is a beautiful message of confirmation as well. Next card I did get was the Dragon's Duel. So there is some sort of inner conflict going on, another conscious choice that needs to be made. Um, these dragons are kind of wrapped up in each other. So I don't know if with this inner conflict, this could very well be what the angels are saying that you can ask for help for and expect aid to help you through this. Um, but it's also about morality. But for me, what's really standing out is the inner conflict and make it a conscious choice. There's something that you may have to choose and you're kind of conflicted about it. Morality may play because we're all raised differently. We don't want to worry about other people's feelings or hurting somebody else's feelings. But again, we need to create those boundaries, those healthy boundaries. We call it on our angelic help, our ancestor to help us. And the last card, because we were talking about the ancestor altar today, I got the altar priestess.
Mm.
And it's all about preparation, prayer, and sacred ritual. So this could be the better card to end the show with. Again, going to your altar, adding your ancestors, adding, like Allyson said. I think Allyson, you said you had some wooden angels on your altar. All different things that we can represent and acknowledge our ancestors, our spiritual altar, where we can go to when we need to ask for that divine guidance or to be able to go and be able to sit with them and to feel their presence and know that all is going to be well. And what's beautiful here is that everything that's on her altar, the ultimate power is within her hands. She has the power. She has the power for to create. This is like the magician card in the tarot, manifestation, taking above, as above, so below, and creating and manifesting. We have the power to do that, and we have the power and the backing of our ancestors and the angels to help us, and the dragons. If you work with dragon energy as well, so. Wonderful card to end the show with.
Yes,
so absolutely perfect. Love that. And everybody, thank you again for joining us today. Allyson, thank you for joining Nancy and I
Thanks
today.
for having.
And Ange went ahead and put Allyson's link again into the
Oh,
chat.
thanks, Ange.
Allyson just started doing some more astrological reads. You said you got the fire signs, and she's got a couple more that she's already posted. Do you plan on doing any more? Is there anything you'd like to share about your channel?
As the desire spurs, honestly, I'm probably just going to do fire sign and water signs.
Okay.
Moving forward, I might not do earth signs or air signs at all anymore.
And with Allyson's readings also, even if you're not the signs, if you're not a fire or a water sign necessarily in your sun or your moon or your rising, if you have any other placements in your chart that are a fire or a water, you can still watch her video. And
that is how I read. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's for the placement anywhere in your chart. Yeah.
There you go.
And welcome to Leo season, everybody. Today's the first day of Leo season.
Yes. To the Leos.
My partner is a Leo sun. And I love Leos. It's absolutely one of my favorite signs.
My mama was a Leo, and my cousin that I shared earlier, she was a Leo. She was August 9th. So
it's interesting, and I'll be quick because
you're fine.
We're wrapping up. But there's a couple different signs that I've noticed in my own life where with the sun signs, how dramatically different male and female are. Virgos. Virgo's sun, male, female, and Leo's male, female. So different. It's just a very different energy. The men from the West. It's just, I don't know why, it just is. In my experience, I've noticed that. A couple other signs too, but those two specifically. So yeah.
Maybe that's something we can ask Karen, Care Bear, Bird of Cards,
Yeah,
because she's
like
learning astrology.
like all the Leo men I've ever known have just been really, it's been a very positive experience. Yeah,
Positive experience.
very positive.
Positive
Yes,
experience.
yes, yes. Yeah, very,
I
very,
know, that
very,
was
very
corny, Heather.
positive, very confident, very,
Yeah.
you know, go-getter, very loyal, just good friend, just all of that. Yeah.
Oh, Angie's a Virgo.
And none of them in the shadow. Yeah, I'm Virgo moon. But a lot of people think I'm a Virgo, but I'm not. I'm
Aries moon.
What's that?
I said I'm Aries moon.
Yeah, Aries moon. Okay. Yep.
And I'm an Aries rising.
I'm Aries sun, Aries in Venus. So there's a lot of Aries.
Lots of fire. She's fiery.
2 strong placements.
Yes.
Although my sun is 0 degrees. I mean, I'm barely in there.
That's interesting.
But anyways, just wanted to mention that. Have a good evening, everybody.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us. And Nancy, do you have any shows with Ginger or anybody coming up this week that you want to share?
Wednesday, I'll be in orbit with Ramon.
Ramon, if you're still in
Nice.
chat, Leo, famous, his favorite Leo, I'm sure, unless it's his
love
partner,
Ramon.
His probably his favorite Leo is Madonna. She's a Leo, go figure. August 17th. So she's like, nah, but he loves her. So I just gotta toss that out to you.
See, that's what I'm saying. Leo women, very different from Leo men. It's interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. That's a good subject sometime. The male, female versus the sun.
Yes, that would be a great show to have.
There's I mean, everybody's different, right? But there's definitely some subtle, some not so subtle. Yeah. Anyways.
And I have nothing else planned. Well, actually, yes, Thursday, Ramon, Bill, Jeff, and I will be getting together to do Artist Decoded, and we're having an additional individual joining us. Keep your eye out. The new thumbnail will go up either tonight or first thing tomorrow, and stay tuned to see who our 5th and lovely guest will be joining our panel for Thursday. And we lost Allyson. And Friday, Allyson and I will be back for our Friday show at 8:00. And again, everybody, thank you again for joining us. And have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye, everybody.